So last week I streamed this thing called GarageLab, which was kind of spur of the moment. I've been working on redoing a lot of my wireless in my house, even outdoors, and the wireless bridge to my garage. And what I thought was going to be quickly swapping out one device ended up being swapping out one device plus testing 3 devices, plus putting up a wireless access point outdoors, and then testing all of that and running Cat 6 to it. So it kind of grew exponentially. But I didn't know I was going to get to that point when I started. So pretty crazy journey to get to that point. And last week I streamed from my garage. It was pretty wild. At least for me on my end, it was pretty loose and I don't know, pretty strung together. Had my phone up, had a microphone that barely worked, and had a light on me. So it's kind of weird, but yeah. So I ended up improving some of the things in my garage. I figured, well, if I'm putting up new access points, new bridge, outdoor stuff, and running some Cat 6, I might as well tear down my all of my devices that are screwed into a piece of plywood and replace it with a server rack or server cabinet. Network cabinet's probably the best way to put it because it's short depth. And so everything is now inside of there. It's all tidied up. It's all cleaned up. I got a couple of PCs in there for testing. And so that's what I've been doing is really just like honing in on a lot of network stuff. It was really inspired by the network stuff that I learned from Chris and Crosstalk Solutions. That kind of inspired me to take a look at some of my network and reevaluate and test some things, right? And test some things, try things, experiment, and then have like the data to back it up to make some changes. So that's what I've been doing. And it's once you start going into like inspecting your wireless and looking at your signals and interference and stuff like that, even getting into DFS, it gets pretty wild. So one thing I did learn is that DFS is this, it's a shared 5 gigahertz band that everyday humans, people like me, can use, or the military can use it, or radar can use it, all kinds of stuff. But if you have an access point that supports the DFS channels, it can scan for those channels and see if radar is currently in use. And if it is in use, it won't use those channels. And if it's not in use, then you get some free bandwidth, some kind of clear, congestion-free bandwidth. Anyways, I won't spoil it, but I learned a lot about radar and DFS. So that's my video that's coming really soon. Videos like this, they take a long time, and I don't know. For me, they're rewarding when they go out. Hopefully, you think so too. So I'll stop babbling. That's what I've been working on. Just learning a lot about wireless outdoor, Wi-Fi 7, DFS channels, 5 gigahertz, 6 gigahertz, you name it. So it's actually fun because it's one of the few things like it improves, my quality of life at home. When the wireless is better, a lot of stuff is better. So anyways, a lot of that. I have one last thing to improve on wireless. I'm not going to do it yet, but I'm excited to. Wi-Fi, I like it. Yeah, I like it. Wi-Fi, I'd say Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi. Yeah, it is interesting because usually I's are E's. So, phonetically, mostly around the world, I's are E's. They sound like E's phonetically, but in English, it could be either. It could be I, it could be a lot of things. But when I see Wi-Fi, I see, when I see Wi-Fi, I don't normally see Wi-Fi. But the other one that gets me is I want to say MIMO, M-I-M-O, and some people say MIMO. So I don't know. I think the network folks say MIMO because they say Wi-Fi too. But anyways, I'm just a visitor in this network space. So anyways, that's what I've been working on. It's been totally fun. I learned a ton. Hopefully I can teach you all about everything that I learned and figure it out. Yeah, gigahertz, 1.21 gigawatts. Gigawatts, it megahertz. Yeah, my head megahertz after learning about all of these other megahertz. So anyways, let's get in a chat. Let's see what you're working on. Enough about me. Let's see what the project you're working on. Because man, I need to think about something else than wireless and wireless tuning. Because man, oh man, I'm so over it. And the not the sad thing, but one of the videos I have to look forward to then is this Aerogorda trip is all about networking again. So I kind of need a break in between networking, and I didn't plan it this way, but it's the way that it turned out. So who knows? Anyways, let's see what you guys are working on. Let's get into chat and let's see what's up. So Romeo, really, but I think it's Romeo. But I say Romeo. It looks like Romeo. Hey, happy Saturday. How's it going? Pong, Cyber Knight, thanks for my test. Yeah, my sound is almost to the point where I trust it without having to test. But anyways, I did a couple of tests on sounds and in text, and it's working. My sound is new. This is my new Rodecaster. I love it. It's just great. Like zero problems. It's like my Go XLR used to be, but way better in some aspects. Now I have a new camera. You probably can't tell, but I finally upgraded my camera. I was talking with Brett, Brett, a lot about cameras and gearling, and even Jeff from Craft Computing over the last 3 or 4 months. And I finally upgraded my camera. This is my first camera upgrade since I started YouTube. so my old camera right here, this is what I built my whole channel on. This little guy right here, A6400, and I'm still going to use it. But I love this camera. I mean, this camera got me, it helped me get to where I am today. So this camera is near and dear to me, and it didn't cost that much money, and I love it. Anyways, it's going to take up a new role. But I got a new camera, Sony FX30. So cinema line. I decided hey, in a camera, my future camera, photography is second now for me. Like when I used to buy cameras like this, photography cameras, photography was first, video was second. And that's how a lot of cameras prioritize. Video second. Well, there's some in cinema lines, like for Sony, that prioritize video. So anyways, can run 4K, won't overheat, fans built in, you name it. So I'm excited about it, but I have to relearn all over again. So anyways, that's boring creator stuff. Let's talk about tech stuff. Mamens, hey, how's it going? Good to see you. Yeah, hey, what are you guys working on? Hey, hello, what's up, everyone? Cyber Knight, struggling with Proxmox Backup garbage collection. Yeah, it takes over 2 days to run. Yep, total backup size is 530 gigabytes. Sorry, as you can tell, I've been doing a lot of networking, not gigabits, gigabytes. PBS running in TrueNAS VM using NFS. Network is 10 gigabits, thinking of adding a 1 terabyte disk to PBS VM to see if that helps for garbage collections. Any thought? I ran into something similar. So I don't, so a couple of things. Is your PBS storage, your data store over the network on NFS, or is it local on SSD? Because that's super helpful, and that will take the time and cut it in half. So a couple of things that I ended up tuning from my Proxmox Backup Server is the garbage collection, does take a long time. Mine doesn't, I don't think mine takes two days. That's pretty long. But my some of my CRC checks or my hash checks validation were taking a long time. And I narrowed it down to CPU plus disk plus just the amount of, backups I have. And so I kind of tuned mine. I basically said, you know what? I don't need to do a validation on every backup that I do every night, every new one. And so I kind of tailored mine back a little bit or trimmed it back and said, you know what? I can even skip. At some point, I was like, I don't really need to validate these updates. Kind of sounds weird. But I'm creating the updates all of the time. And so I have so many copies to go back to. And so I was kind of like, do I want to spend these cycles and waste this power on this? But anyways, hey, dude, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Oh, I need to look at the right thing. Blue-Eyed Bandit. Hey, Prime sub. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Thank you, Blue-Eyed Bandit. I like it. I like the B in there. The Blue-Eyed Bandit. BB. Blue-Eyed, yeah, because it's hyphenated. So, but PBS as a backup target, yeah, you could do that too. Yes. Sorry, I was reading chat, but anyways, that's I don't know. That's a long time. Does seem like a long time. I would just make sure that, hey, if your PBS data store is on NFS or something else somewhere, make sure that data store is on really fast disks or less busy disks. Make sure your CPU can accommodate it, right? Network is when you get into backups and checking, network is a big piece. But at the end of the day, like when it comes to garbage collection and validation, that's all CPU. That's all CPU and disk. So network is only during the time of backup, and arguably, that I would say that's almost not least important in your backup system, but not as important as you would think, because you need to be able to write as fast as all your backups that are running. So, but I think, but PBS doesn't do it in parallel; they do it sequentially. So yeah, it does help. So, anyways, I'm just rambling. Those are the things I would check. Jimbo Slice, how's it going? Resub Prime 3 months, dude. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Thanks, Jimbo Slice. Good to see you. Good to see you. Yo, how's it going? It is going pretty good. It is going pretty good. Hey, howdy party. I am Upa. It's going pretty good. I about 10 minutes before the stream, I was like, whoa, I need to stream. I haven't tested my camera. I haven't tested my audio. Like new camera, new everything. And I just scrambled and got it together. And, I was 4 minutes late, but for me, that's kind of on time. So, but it's going good. It's going good. I'm like I said earlier, I've been editing this video project for like a week on top of figuring out the project and filming it while I was doing it. If you ever get into content creation, or put it this way, if you ever document something while you're doing it, it doesn't take 2x longer. It probably takes 5x longer, right? So if you're ever doing something and documenting it at the same time, do this, document this, do this, document it. You would think, yeah, it's going to take 100% more. It's going to take twice as long, but no, it's like exponential when you focus shift and do that all the time. The same thing goes for content creation. Especially if you're documenting something and doing something at the same time, oh my gosh, it takes forever. But yeah, anyways, last weekend was luckily my wife was out of town, so I got to take a lot of the network down, and I knew she was going to be out of town, and I thought, well, it's just me and Cat 6 and pizza tonight. Like, this is fun. So anyways, you'll see it coming up. I'm working for revising an AWS Certs. Chubby Panda, that is awesome. AWS Certs, yeah, those are. I feel like they're good to have. I feel like they're good to have. I feel like I should probably have an AWS Cert. At least a GCP one, because I use GCP all the time for work. So, and I've used AWS a ton. So, yeah, that's awesome. Revising. I assume that means updating one, or just refreshing one. But good luck. Sounds awesome. I'd love to know which one. Lawrence. For reference, DevOps Pro exam tomorrow. Well, dude, I hope it new cert. All right, Chubby Panda. That sounds awesome. DevOps. AWS, new cert. Study up. I think you'll do fine. That'd be fun. I would love to take one just like not even studying. I'd probably do terrible, but just so I could like level set and say, okay, these are the things I need to study. I'm usually pretty good at guessing too if it's multiple choice, but it's been a while since I had to do stuff like that. Lawrence Forces, I'm setting up Proxmox VE node for the first time. Went to Micro Center to get a USB micro cable to connect to keyboard. Came home with an 8-port managed PoE switch. Average Micro Center trip. Yeah, seriously, that is the average trip. Yeah, I was there. I actually was there. I struck up another partnership with them. They're going to be sponsoring some stuff coming up here soon. They're actually the sponsor for the next video, and then one next month too. So pretty awesome. I've been working with them again. I got to spend a lot of time in the store on Wednesday, and it's pretty fun. I know exactly what you mean. You walk in there expecting to get one thing, you walk out with a whole bunch of other stuff, and that was kind of like me too. Same happens at Target. I mean, it just happened this morning at Target. We went there to get cheese. We left with like scones and cheese and you name it. I was like, I'm not used to being at Target this early in the morning. I'm just gonna get some scones and like eat them all. Anyways, I know how it goes. It's awesome. Huge fan of Micro Center, as you guys know. Yeah, they were one of my first. They were my first sponsor, which is pretty awesome. They believed in me early on. So, and on top of that, good company. So Twisted Grim, hey, no HomeLab this weekend. Watching Tim at the beach, dude, Twisted Grim, man. Dude, take a chill. That's awesome. You're watching me at the beach. Enjoy the beach. Enjoy the beach. Just put your screen down, and you got a good screen in front of you, or you got good scenery probably in front of you, to the left and right too. But I know how it goes to still bring a mobile device on a trip, or especially like on the beach, because I'm not a huge beach person. I will sit on the beach, but I get bored real quick. Unless there's like a storm and it's windy and I can sit out there. But like just the hot sunny days, I'm kind of like, I'm kind of bored. I'm going to walk, 2 miles down the beach and back. So no, I enjoy that a ton. I enjoy that. Anytime I'm kind of sitting still, if the scenery's not changing around me, I need to change my scenery. So, but yeah, enjoy, dude. Enjoy. That sounds awesome. This sounds good. I mean, it's my ideal day here, 54 and cloudy. This is kind of like my favorite weather. But if I was in the mood, I'd probably sit on the beach. I'm up by, hey Tim, have you messed with ChatGPT or other LLM models to generate HomeLab projects? I've recently gathered 32 total projects that I can do with my HomeLab. I just have to provide a tech stack of my choice. To be sure that I get the projects related to it. Oh, I see what you mean. No, I haven't. I've gotten help with plenty of stuff from both Ollama and ChatGPT for HomeLab stuff. But yeah, I got what you mean. HomeLab ideas. No, I haven't. That's pretty cool. The funny thing, I always think like, oh yeah, what would Reddit suggest? Because ChatGPT is pretty much Reddit without the snarkiness. But yeah, this is that's pretty cool. So the way I think of it, like, it's very similar to like, hey, I mean the same kind of idea. If you abstract, the domain away from it, it's very similar to like, hey, I have a cupboard full of or a pantry, whatever you want to call it, full of ingredients. What can I make, right? And so you want an LLM or ChatGPT to say, here's all the things you can make. Here's the recipes you can make. You have all of the ingredients. Here you go. And so that's really cool. So then you're saying, hey, ChatGPT or big LLM, I'm going to call it LLM, could be a little LLM. LLM, hey, I have this technology. I have this many resources, what can I build? And so that's pretty awesome. I like it. I bet you get a ton of stuff. And hopefully the right, man, I need to try this sometime, because I wonder if it's like right sizing stuff too. I wonder if it's like, because it could tell me to build, I doubt it's going to do this, but it could be like, you have the resources to build, 2 million websites and run them, I'm sure it's not going to do that, because that's not what a human would say. And that's probably not what a human said on Reddit. But I could see it going off the rails. But LLMs are so much further away than that. I don't even think they're ever to that point. They just jumped like crazy right away. So, but yeah, that is a great idea. I should do it sometime. I should do it. I like it. Blade, how's it going? Good to see you. Blade, how's it going? Odif, hey all. Currently spinning up Immich. Awesome. Realize my kids have been taking pics and videos on their own tablets for years, and it would be a shame to lose them. Yeah, for sure. So instead of just backing them up, let's make a project out of it. Odiv, I totally agree. That is pretty awesome. Kids love to take photos too. I've noticed on every tablet, everything. For some reason, they just love it. I mean, they love screens in general, but I've always found that, kids are like, they love taking photos too. And it's awesome to see photos that kids take, to see things from their perspective, and even just the height or what they think is cool, or it's gonna be a lot of close-ups of their own eyeballs and stuff like that, but that's cool. So yeah, so you're gonna use Immich, which is the self-hosted, I'm gonna say like Google Photos-ish-esque, self-hosted solution that you can also back up all of your devices to and keep everything local. And you can do object detection, you can do face detection, you can do location mapping, you can do all the stuff, but keep it locally on premise. And actually, it's like the best like user experience you could ever have too. I mean, that I think we've seen from anything self-hosted. So yeah, Mitch is awesome. And that's a great way to just say, hey, let's back up all these other devices. They don't need to be backed up to the cloud. Maybe your own personal one is, you're right, because you, for whatever reason, all the reasons. But these other tablets we have that kids play with, no. But if they're taking photos, yeah, let's back them up to there. So pretty cool. I like it. That sounds like a fun project too. And who knows, you might like it enough to where you switch all your personal stuff too. So Modest M, hey, how's it going? Good to see you. Surfing Dragons. Hey, I'm learning Kubernetes at the moment. Started with Kates, but switched to K3S to start off after some headaches. Yeah, Surfing Dragons. So one, congratulations on learning Kubernetes. Taking the plunge, and the first step is saying, hey, I want to learn it. So that's awesome. That is awesome. I think it's a great skill to learn. It's ubiquitous when it comes to, especially running things in the cloud. It's ubiquitous. But it's a great skill to learn, even if you're never going to use it, just to kind of understand what it is, what problem it solves, and why it's used. But also, yeah. So you started out with plain old Kates or Kubernetes, like the distribution upstream. Basically, all the distributions now, are downstream of the Kubernetes open source CNCF project. And so you realize that, yeah, like plain old Kubernetes is not only missing some things, but also has things in it you probably don't need when you're self-hosting. And so exactly that. So that's why K3S exists. They said, hey, we're going to include batteries, and we're also going to take some batteries out. The batteries that they include, it could be ingress, could be storage, local storage, and a couple other things. I'm sure lots of other things. And then, etcd if you want it, or MySQL, you name it, SQLite. And then the things they take out are like all of the cloud stuff to communicate with load balancers because, they don't need those, 3 million lines of code or something crazy they yanked out. So pretty cool. Yeah, I love it. But I don't know. If you went the hard way on Kates, I think you're going to be happy with K3S. But again, it's going to have its own quirks too. So pretty awesome. Dude, Ummit, nice. Hey, thanks for the follow. Appreciate it. Mamens. I don't know why I like saying it though. Let me grab a drink. My voice is super low right now. I think it's a combination of stuff, but Mamens, would like to upgrade my base MacBook Pro M1. Don't know what to go for. So many options. Yeah. I'm still on a Intel MacBook Pro. It's actually down here. I have it mounted. This is my work machine. It's right here. Radal or Brett likes to make fun of me all the time because I still have the Intel one, but I'm like, dude, it's good enough. So this is the Intel one. I still haven't upgraded to Apple Silicon, and I use this, I would say every day, but let's put it this way: every day that I work, I use it for work, for writing code, for debugging, for all the things you do. Video conferences, you name it. I got to plug in power or I'll never remember. I'll remember. Anyways, and so I haven't upgraded to Apple Silicon yet. Like I have Apple Silicon. I have a Mac Studio. It's actually running this whole stream. It's how I create content, write code. And I got a Linux and Windows machine coming soon. But I haven't made the jump, though, for my MacBook Pro. So that's interesting. You're already saying like, hey, I'm on Apple Silicon M1. I want to go, to something else. Well, M4 is going to be pretty awesome. I don't know. When I look at it, when I look at the options, because I just did, because I keep evaluating, is now the time I go to a MacBook Pro. It's kind of my story even for 3D printers. The longer I wait, the better they get. So, Lloyd Bandit, well, gotta go. Time for sushi. Dude, enjoy sushi, dude. For sure. Enjoy sushi. Dude, enjoy it, and thanks for the sub. Appreciate it. Anyways, the way I look at it is like, hey, like there's going to be 3 tiers, right? There's going to be the base, then there's going to be the upgrade the stuff a little bit, and then there's going to be the upgrade the stuff a little bit more, and then all of those tiers then have like storage. So I kind of look at it like I'm going to pick storage. If you're just doing, I don't even want to say general computing. If you're doing development, I don't know. I probably would stick with the base unless like, hey, you get double the cores of something for a little bit more. It's tough. Without me looking at them, I can't tell you, but I did look at them last week, and I think it was gonna. I don't know. There's so many M4s, but I kind of lean towards. At first, with Macs, it used to be a lot easier, but now we have so many tiers with all these different, Apple silicons. We got M4, M4 Ultra, M4 Pro. It's just like, oh my gosh. Well, I don't think we have the Ultra yet, but same goes with 3, 2, 1. So I don't know. I kind of think in general that you're not going to need all those cores. I mean, for the most part, I always feel like now, okay, the base one, has enough cores for what I want to do. And so I don't know. Even for my studio, I didn't go Ultra. I went Max. So, but on Max, I was able to double GPU cores, and that's where I said, hey, like, I'm gonna be rendering video. It gave me more neural cores too, but I'm like, I'm not doing any AI stuff with this. And even if I do, I still have some neural cores. Like, if I ever attempt to do it, it's not like it's not gonna work. I'm gonna have less cores to do it. So I didn't want to pay for stuff I wasn't gonna use. And so for me, it was easy. Like the next jump up had double the video GPU cores, and I was like, yes, I want that because I'm going to be rendering stuff. Yeah, RAM for sure. Yeah, RAM for sure. But you could select your RAM separately of the model, right? I mean, the different different models of silicon unlock higher ceilings for RAM, right? But you can select your RAM, I think, independently. It's just, I think the higher models like unlock hey, we're going to now be able to address like 192 gigs of RAM or something crazy. But yeah, it's tough to select. But hey, I mean, that's a good problem to have. You're like, which MacBook Pro? You're in a pretty good position if you're like, oh, which one do I want? It's so hard. But I think you'll figure it out. You'll have to let me know which one you choose to. You have to let me know which one you choose to. And they're expensive. Yeah, I agree. I agree. They are expensive. But I'll tell you, I bought my 2019 Intel in 2019, and it's 2024, 5 years later, and it's still, I'm still able to do all the stuff I could do, 5 years later. And so, that's another tip for me is like, I usually plan for the future. And so I'm like, I'm not gonna skimp on RAM. I'm not gonna skimp on drive space. I'm not gonna go overboard. But at the same time, I plan to get at least 5 years out of my devices. But which is crazy to think. If you think in corporate environment, I think they refresh on 2. I think they refresh on 2 or 3 or something. And it's like, yeah, okay. So if corporate's refreshing on 2 for a $2,000 machine, if you spend $3,000 and get more than double, that's pretty good. So, anyways, it's not apples to apples. Pun there. All right, let's get on. Let's see. Welcome to YAML Janitoring Surfing Dragons. Yeah, YAML Janitor, for sure. For sure. Yeah, when you start doing DevOps, it's totally your YAML Janitor. For sure. You are, for sure. Oh, man, it's like you're going to be fixing indents all the time, including keys that don't exist. And who knows if they exist or not until you apply them because there's no great schemas for all this stuff. I mean, there is, but a lot of it's dynamic. So Sigor, hello everyone. I'm desperately trying to find time to set up my Mellanox 40 gigabit card. Sorry, I've been doing so much networking. I got to double check every time now. In my Lenovo M720Q. It's in the computer, but struggling to get Proxmox to see it and pass through to my Pi-hole container. Wow, that is wild. You're like, hey, I want to run this 40 gigabit card to pass through to my Pi-hole container. Dude, I wish I knew. I don't know anything about Mellanox. I'm not even gonna pretend that I know anything about the Mellanox card. And I would think, it being Proxmox built on Debian, and it being, Bookworm, and it, being Linux, that it should just work, So I wish I had something, but hopefully me reading this comment gave it some visibility to someone who may have run into it. And I'm sure you posted this in Discord already too. So, and I know in our Discord some people have this card, but the Lenovo M720Q. Yeah. So I mean, if the computer doesn't see it, I mean, if you go into your BIOS, does it see it? I mean, that's what I go back to. Okay, things aren't working. Does BIOS recognize it? Does when I load it, does in Linux, does the Linux driver get loaded? or is, there's something that's blocked that needs to be fixed or unlocked, or a new driver needs to be compiled. Those are the kind of things I go into if it just doesn't magically appear. Otherwise, everything's great. Well, I hope you figure it out. Big Lucky, hey, how's it going? Hey, Tim, how's it going? Blade, hey, how's it going? Good to see you. I'm attempting to replicate my Linux desktop setup from Ubuntu to Arch, since I have a need for newer packages. Arch, by the way. That is awesome, Blade. I think, this is exactly the poster child for Arch, right? Like you use a Linux distribution and you settle with their package manager, and their package manager, their packages usually are pinned to, the distribution. And so Arch says, hey, no more of that. We're just going to run latest, everything, as soon as you update it. So pretty cool. That is awesome. I wish I used Linux enough to get to that point, and I will be using it here some more soon. Like I use it all the time from a terminal and stuff like that. But usually the packages that I have are good enough. But that is awesome. I think once you start going into desktop Linux, that's where you're like, I need later packages, But that is awesome. I wonder, I'm curious to know, like, are there tools to help you do this? Or is it just kind of like install, reinstall everything? Reinstall everything. And the other thing, like, package managers are getting wild on Linux, man. Package managers getting wild between Nix and even Brew. Like some people are picking Brew, to install packages on Linux, which, has traditionally been for Mac OS. And people are like, well, it also just works on Linux. So pretty wild. Blade says, it's been surprisingly smooth. So many of the packages I use have to go out of my way to install before are just in the default repos or the AUR. That's awesome. Yeah, no, I know what you mean. Like perfect example. I don't know. I don't have the perfect example because I can't remember the package. Was it Postgres? I was installing something the other day, and it seems like every third install I do on Ubuntu, it's like, I need to install their, add their repository, trust the key, and then I can do an apt, and then I can do an install, and then I'm like, sweet, that worked until 3 installs later, I'm like, oh, this doesn't exist in app. So that is awesome to know. And that's that helps me understand, like, yet another reason why people choose it. I'm testing in a VM and Proxmox before I put it on a real hardware. Hey, that's what it's all about, man. That's what it's all about. That's why you have a virtual machine. That's pretty awesome. Man, has there been any improvements to remote desktop clients, in Linux? I think I'm using Remina, which is compatible with RDP, which works pretty good. I think it's one of the best ones out there. But I wonder if there's anything better. I don't know. Because I assume that's no machine. Okay, no machine is what you use for Linux. That's what I was going for. It was like, what's the recommended way to remote into, a desktop version of Linux, not terminal in, to get a pretty good user experience and not see like trails of the mouse that you're drawing, as I have for like 20 years with VNC. So I switched to I'm calling it Remina, which has been great, which uses the RDP protocol, which means that, hey, it works from Windows and everywhere else. So awesome. I need to see it. I would check it out. All Swing, how's it going? Dude, thanks for the Prime sub, 13 months, dude. 1 year, 1 month. Thank you so much. All Swing. All Swing. Thank you so much. Yeah, I want to use, no machine. Got to check it out. Note to self, no machine. Because I've been using, I have a Linux desktop. I have an Ubuntu virtual machine. Then I still use Remina, and I use RDP because it's like, the client's right there, and it kind of works the same. But I'll have to check it out. Surfing Dragons, thank you. No problem. I think I missed what you're saying. Thank you too. I apologize if I skipped over. Oh, I'm learning Kubernetes. Yeah, awesome. I like I said, very rewarding, very painful, but it's a great skill. And then you could answer questions for other people. That's when it starts to get fun. Funner. Have Twitchagram, have you or anyone else been going hard at searchNG or searching and set it up with AI searches? I may look into this soon. Kind of, sort of. I added that stack to my AI stack. So I did that when I did my AI stack. That's in my AI stack that I'm still running. So I have an AI stack. It's a combination of Ollama, searXNG or searching or however you pronounce it. Some of my stuff for Whisper to convert and make my closed captions and stuff like that. I'm sorry, my brain is, I'm like looking at too many screens. But so I haven't set it up on my own, but I have Ollama and OpenWebUI using searXNG when it needs to search the web. So I've noticed on ChatGPT now it'll search the web, but I've been able to search the web anonymously with with OpenWebUI that's powered by Ollama. So I have them tied in. So I don't have I saw that Alex released a video. I think it was Tailscale, and I only saw it pop up. Sorry, Alex, didn't click. I have stuff to do. But I did saw it and added to my watch later. But that's awesome. I'm a fan of it. I saw there's a new feature too when I was looking at it the other day. Maybe this isn't a feature of that. I don't remember. I'm not going to say it, but I saw a feature somewhere where you could actually have a bunch of AI bots go out and find something, and then they will come back with the best response. But it's totally like an aggregation of everyone's response, and then it votes. Anyways, that might not be it, but I'll have to check it out. Maybe I'm making up features, but I remember seeing that somewhere where it was like you were going to aggregate a whole bunch of bots to go scrape stuff, and then they would all vote instead of you doing it, with your three searches. So, anyways, I'll check it out for sure. I don't run the desktop one. Let's see. Did I? Oopa, I answered your question. If you're talking about the LLM projects, I talked about it for about 4 or 5 minutes, I think. If that's the one you're talking about. Hello, nerd Axic. Thank you for your tutorials. Dude, no problem at all. Nerd Axic. That's what I'm saying. Nerd Axic. Twisted Grim, sometimes those random improvements make way more progress than the planned stuff. Yeah, for sure. For sure. I mean, even, I won't go into it, but I'll go into it. No, I totally agree. Like sometimes you're like, I have some time, I'll fix this, and then it like turns into this like can of worms, and you're just like, I'll fix all the things because I don't want to come back to it. At least that's me. And gets me in trouble. Got me in trouble last night. I thought, the light bulbs in the basement are kind of dim, and we have this old fluorescent, tube lighting thing that hasn't worked since we moved in. Yeah, I'll put some LED lights in it. Oh man, that's I've already been to Menards twice. I replaced 10 light bulbs everywhere else. Now I've been researching how to bypass a ballast that is rapid start for fluorescent light bulbs, and I think I'm gonna rewire the whole thing. So that's me in a nutshell. And so that's what I'm gonna do. I'm not gonna give up because I'm not gonna go back. The way I look at stuff is like I want to visit it once and done, and then like when I'm done, it's done. And that's a thing we used to say in software development, because a lot of people are like, I'm done, but I got to do all this other stuff. So we'd have to say twice, are you done or are you done? And done means like you can ship it. You don't need to touch it. You don't need to talk to anyone, and so anyways, I like to finish stuff done. And so when things are kind of done, it just eats me up inside. So there's a few projects though I that are done, but not done that I still need to get to. So anyways, it's fun. It's fun. Lawrence Forces, Techno Tim, do you have a first 5 minutes type of procedure for basic server setup? I'm about to deploy a few nodes, only internal network at the moment, but I'm looking into some basic security SSH sanity. When first getting them online. Lawrence Forces, kind of, sort of. Yeah, I do. I have my. It's an old video, man. It's an old video. You're gonna get robot me and terrible sound. I mean, arguably that's still what you get. But I have one. It sounds like you're maybe gonna do Linux. I assume you are. I don't think I'd put a Windows machine attached directly on the edge to the internet. Even though I'm sure newer versions of Windows are fine. Anyways, there's one. It's called the first. It's like the first 13 things I do in Linux, or 12 things I do in Linux. And it's exactly that. It's like, hey, I have this Linux machine. It's going to be Ubuntu. And it's going to be like, what the heck do I do with it to kind of get it ready, right? And so a lot of it's patching. It's maybe turning on the firewall. It's, maybe turning on some additional logging, installing some additional software. And then, yeah, it covers that. And that was, for me, a segue into saying, okay, now how do I automate this with Ansible? And so my video after that, if you want to skip to part 2, or you want to get to, the sequel of that, which is using Ansible to automate all of those things that you do manually. So if you've never done it before, yeah, there's if you've never done it before, it's great to do it once, right? Do it once, you SSH in, you do these things, and you're like, cool, now I know what to do. But if you need to do it to multiple, like you're saying, pick up Ansible really quick. I think I have a video where it's like installing and configuring it and running a playbook, and it revisits all of those things that I did in that prior video. So anyways, you'll go looking for, okay, yeah, you'll find it. If you just Techno Tim Linux, it'll probably come up. Oop, it's on Proxmox. Oh man, dude, I'm sorry. Let me look real quick just to make sure. I mean, maybe it was later. I see the LLM. Sigor, Blade. Oop, oh yeah. Hey, yeah. All right, man, you were right. Little rewind. Hey, Tim, I'm trying to decommission my main power-hungry server and trying to replace 3 nodes of Proxmox cluster. I'm currently running backup using Share and Proxmox and not Backup Server. How can I go about moving my VMs to the new cluster? Hey, so this is, you got a couple of ways. Trying to replace 3 nodes. I'm currently running backup using Share and Proxmox and not Backup Server. Oh yeah, this is what I used to do. So if you have a cluster already, or 3 Proxmox servers, doesn't even have to be a cluster, and they have a share added to all of them. Let's say it's an NFS share. That's where it's backing stuff up to, right? And so all you have to do is, when you build the new devices, add that same share to it, and then you go into that share. You'll see your backups. And then you can restore. So that's like a, kind of disaster recovery kind of way. If they are clustered, you could do an offline migration if you want. So me, if I were doing it, how would I do it? If I were doing it and I had a 3-node cluster and I was going to replace those 3 nodes, what I would do is create a 6-node cluster. So I would join all 3 of those nodes to that cluster. So they get the shares, they get everything, like, if you can. And then from there, I would just do an offline migration. I would shut one down and say, migrate, and that will migrate your settings, everything over there. And that should be pretty good. If it's a high availability cluster, you could do a live migration. But if you shut them down, you should be able to do a non-live or an offline migration, which is basically, that's what they're doing. They're shutting it down, taking a snapshot, backing it up, and then going on the other machine, telling the machine to restore there. So that's what I would do. And that's what I do. And I don't know if the offline migration is something new they just added. Because I remember, I don't remember that feature being there. And just the other day, I was like, I needed to move one. And I'm like, this isn't going to work because I don't have ZFS. I don't have HA, all the reasons, I should probably have a real HA cluster. But then when I tried to do it, it was like, hey, you can do this offline. And I was like, is that a new feature or have I just been doing it wrong forever? So anyways, so the super easy way that's like, it's always worked for me is NFS share for all of them. Go in the NFS share, restore to that machine. I think you might have to make some additional tweaks. I forget what doesn't come over. I mean, it's going to be like slight metadata. But if you want to restore the real one with the same ID and same everything, yeah, I would join those 3 nodes to the cluster, do an offline migration or live migration, and there you go. Same ID, same everything, same backup, same everything, right? And so, yeah, I would if you're doing a replacement one, that's a little bit harder, but I would add nodes and then take away the old nodes. That's me, because then you're just carrying on your CoroSync, all of your stuff. You're just carrying on to the new one, and that's really, that's really clustering in general. You're treating your hypervisors like cattle, right? That's the way that HA in general works. Just keep adding more machines, more hypervisors, and they'll keep carrying on the legacy of that cluster. So. Yeah, that's what I would do. I think that's what I would do. And sorry I overlooked it. Dude, thank you so much. Silent Labber. Ooh, I like it. Silent Labber. I like it. I like it. Sub tier 1. Dude, thank you so much. Silent Labber. I like it. Does that mean your machines are silent? You're 100% Silent Lab? I like it. Or you're just like in the shadows. Anyways, dude, thank you so much. I appreciate it. But yeah, appreciate the name. Now, Hugh Wagner. Dude, thanks for the follow. Appreciate it. Yeah, Upa, yeah, no problem. I again forget I skip. Sometimes it's so hard looking at stuff and trying to, now I'm trying to be like looking at comments, see if they're applying to the comment I'm reading, and I'm trying to do 2 things I'm trying to do way more than that. Anyways, hope that works. That's what I would do. That's what I would do. I would repeat myself again, but I think I said it a few times. So, Lawrence, I read that. Okay, so back in the queue. CSD 4993. Well, I hadn't had any HomeLab stuff recently, except a problem with Cloudflare rate limiting me and my HomeLab stuff, which was very irritating. That's interesting. I wonder what they were rate limiting. So I assume when you say rate limiting you, it's on the API side, right? So you're trying to do something on the API side, maybe programmatically, and saying, hey, update my DNS, hey, update my DNS, hey, update my DNS, and you do it enough, and they're like 429, too many requests, and then you got to back off. And if if you could do it and have control of it, the smarter way is exponential back off. So you back off once for 1 millisecond, 2 milliseconds, 4, 16, and so on and so forth. But you probably don't have control over that because it's probably a container that's just cycling. Anyways, I'm making a lot of assumptions about what you're doing. If it's on the API side, yeah, that kind of stinks. And that boils down to that. Well, okay, well then what is the container or what is the process doing that's contacting their API? I meant that I use Cloudflare tunnels and some requests are very slow. Oh, there we go. A little bit better. Like unbearably slow. Yeah, that stinks. I see what you mean. Rate limiting. I gotcha. I see. This is a developer in me. When I see rate limit, I'm like, ooh, 429s. It's like the bane of my existence. It's like I want to go faster with APIs, and they're like, yeah, you need to slow down. Anyways, I totally get it. Gotcha. So they're limiting your bandwidth or restricting it, or you're on a slow exit node with them. Gotcha. Or it could be latency. Yeah. Or you're on one of their super slow exit nodes. Who knows? But yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, this is developer in me, just like, rate limiting. But anyways, I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. I have not used tunnels to this day. I totally get them. I know where they fit in. I know why they're popular. But me having my own reverse proxy, I've just kind of been like, well, I don't necessarily need tunnels. And I should probably learn about the slowness and stuff like that. But yeah, that stinks. I wonder if, traceroute, I like it. Traceroute, yeah, thank you guys. Yeah, this is awesome. Yeah, traceroute, and yeah, ping and all the tools. Traceroute will tell you each hop and latency from each hop. But yeah, and then there's a couple curl commands too you could use. The curl commands are going to be curling to some speed test thing. If you really want to see like how much throughput you could put through there too. There's a couple curl. You basically curl one of the speed test place, and I think there's even a way to curl fast. But that's going to give you throughput, not necessarily latency. So. It goes through Germany and America, but it's more than just latency. It's probably because I'm on the free plan. Yeah, this mostly happens to me on my pterodactyl panel. Yeah, that stinks. And that can be a pain. But yeah, that's interesting that it's happening. And it would be interesting if they were rate limiting or restricting, the bandwidth on free plans. Because I'm on the other side of Cloudflare. Like, I'm on two sides of Cloudflare. Like, I use them as a proxy. Latency's really good, super low latency, and they protect me. So on the outside, and then on the inside, using their APIs to update DNS requests and everything, and and propagating that everywhere, it's super fast. So I've never heard Cloudflare described as being slow. So it's interesting. Free is low priority for sure. Good to know. I'm sure they have so many people using it now too. I'm sure they have so many people using it now because they just unlocked like a ton of capabilities for people who may not have had a way to do it prior, right? For people on CGNAT and stuff like that, or double natted or whatever, and they had no way to expose these ports, and now they do. And but now they've opened the can of worms where it's like just people who just don't even want to expose their ports, which is awesome, or want to deal with all that and want to go the easy route. So pretty awesome. I hope you figure it out, man. Happy Saturday. I've been on a RetroPie kick. Awesome. Been playing that versus working on projects. Jimbo Slice, dude, I wish I could. I wish I could, man. Those are the days. Those are the days for me. Yeah, because right now, like November, at least if you're in the Northern Hemisphere, and I guess at least if you're me, like this time of year is like, okay, like it's cooler in the house. It's cooler everywhere. I can do like HomeLab projects. I can have 15 lights on in here and a hoodie and be okay, And so I tend to gravitate towards more HomeLab stuff during this time, whereas in the summer it was more gaming because I was just like, oh, it's too hot out. I just want some AC and sit down. So. But yeah, man, it sounds awesome. Bill Nash, sup, nerds? How's it going, man? Good to see you. Sebi, working on WLED strips in both sites with segments and TGE height of 2U and 4U to light up the status of my server switches. That is awesome. So I haven't done anything with WLED. That sounds awesome. I haven't done anything. I should just say that. Like my LED extent is like either buying Philips Hue or some knockoff, LED strips and getting those to work. Except for I have a couple infrared things that I did, and I wrote some code and gotten a little like an infrared blaster, I guess, and I've done some cool stuff, but never anything WLED. I keep trying to figure out like what's the use case. Like I totally get it. Like for huge production stuff, like people are really into it. But I feel like that's a rabbit hole, like for sure. And so you must be really into lighting, or you've had someone who's taught you this stuff, because it seems like it seems pretty far deep in there to where you gotta like production lighting and stuff like that, or maybe not. Maybe you're not into AV and lighting and stuff like that, and you just like stumbled on it one day, like I do with half the stuff. But sounds pretty awesome. I'd love to see a photo, or even know more about how you got to that point. Petition to rename it, to Wi-Fi. We talked about that a little bit earlier. Gigahertz, my megahertz. I totally megahertz after my brain megahertz after this last weekend of doing all of this networking stuff. It's data. Oh, Wi-Fi, second in, nerd, discovered Plex thanks to you and got it running smooth on TrueNAS scale. Currently adding media. Nerd. That's awesome. Yep. Yeah, I'm a huge fan. And obviously they've sponsored me in the past. But that aside, like I've loved them and used them and paid for them for 10 years prior to them sponsoring me. So anything that I say about them it's things I've been saying for years. And it's so fantastic. It is. And that is awesome that you discovered it and now you got it on TrueNAS scale. Man, that's a good jump. You're just like, hey, I heard about this Plex thing. I'm going to use it and run a pretty advanced NAS system with ZFS and get it running on TrueNAS scale. And now they support Docker and get that configured. So congratulations, that is awesome. I think for me moving forward, that TrueNAS scale is going to be my platform, not only for my data because it already is, but also my application platform for everything at home. So my home production app platform, I think, is going to be 100% TrueNAS scale, and I'm putting all my eggs in one basket. We'll see how that goes. But outside of that, I'll still do testing and do stuff. I still am running Kubernetes at home. But I think, and I'm still running a Docker VM. I'm just waiting for the time to migrate all of my stuff over to my TrueNAS scale instance. Got to do some hardware upgrades. Server the Home gave me a couple of Xeons that I want to test out. So, but as soon as I do that, I'll be joining you. So that is awesome. That is awesome. Happy wireless, happy family. Vidit, I agree. Happy wireless, happy family. I agree. And isn't that so true? Isn't that so true? Because the moment it's not, you hear about it, you know? And so, I don't know. I have one more thing to improve in wireless. You know, I haven't gone all Wi-Fi 7 APs. And it's funny that I have so many access points in my house, considering I have a pretty small house. But I do. And so I've learned a lot about tuning them too when you have too many, you know, and minimum RSSI and, you know, and transmit power and all this stuff. So I have one more thing to tune, and it's mainly because my doorbell cam doesn't have an access point like anywhere near it. And the closest one is going like through 2 walls and a floor. So I got a fix for that coming. Oopah. I also got a spare mini OptiPlex. So thinking about installing either RetroPie or Battlesera, yeah, Linux for some awesome retro games. Yeah, so I know RetroPie well. Battlesera is the one that I hear keep coming up, and so that looks pretty awesome too. And I might try it sometime. I'm a huge fan of RetroPie, and I still have a Pi 2 with RetroPie on it, and it still RetroPies, and it's pretty awesome. So awesome. You look great always, Tim. Thank you. Thank you. It was probably related to something I was talking about. Blue-eyed Bandit, first time here, and since I'm a middle grade science teaching major after 17 years in medical, I figured I should see what your stream's all about. Hey, Blue-eyed Bandit, and that's awesome. That is awesome. Oh man, after 17 years in medical, that is awesome. It's kind of random. It's kind of, the live streams are kind of random. We just talk about stuff. That's kind of what it is. It's you know, I say it. So I selfishly say that it's the one time a week that I get to talk to people who know what the heck I'm talking about. So that's the way I describe it. And so I have some feedback that lets me know that people know what I'm saying. But I like to think like people know what I'm talking about, and they do. There's so many smart people in here, and it has nothing to do with me. You know, it has nothing to do with the viewers. It's more, you know, me being able to articulate what the heck I'm talking about. So, anyways, yeah, welcome. Are we backing up Proxmox or using Proxmox Backup? Oh yeah, this was going earlier. PBS is the backup target, so this was going into, I think, performance on garbage collection with PBS. Let's see. It's not recommended to do backups on ZFS storage. Proxmox does not allow it by default. Is not recommend. Yeah, I noticed that too. I don't know. It's kind of confusing. Mine isn't, because my data store is on NFS. But that the funny thing is that NFS target is backed by ZFS, and so. Yeah, there could be a ton of like unnecessary churn for no reason, because it's kind of Inception a little bit, because, you know, really in an ideal world with PBS, a Proxmox Backup Server, your data stores live on your local machine, right? And they have their own spindles. But I'm doing it in a shared environment over NFS, which then is backed by ZFS, and so. You know, I have noticed, funny, the reason I turned off validation is because the validation jobs were taking so long, and I noticed it was just like crunching my CPU on my server, and my server is shared. So I was like, that's when I started to notice, hey, some things are kind of sluggish. Why are they sluggish? Oh, the CPU is going. Why is the CPU going? Oh, it's doing these validation checks on these backups that are running forever. But I re-back up the machine like 3 days later, or I do the diff. So I'm like, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that anymore. You know, I'm not going to do that anymore. So, CSD. Right now, I only use LXC containers. Nice. I don't need PCIe devices. Awesome. And for networking, I use yeah, using OpenWRT to make some parts consolidated and blocking from PVE, which is not ideal. Yeah, I want to switch to pfSense or OPNsense. Which do you think I should use? That's, I'm not going to get into like licensing and all that, but there are differences. There are different communities for each. A lot of people use pfSense. That's what I'm going to say. A lot of people use pfSense, but OPNsense is just as popular. I think if you ask in here, I think, without knowing, I think a majority of people are going to be using pfSense. And so if you want to be, if you want to, use something that a lot of people are using, not to say that OPNsense isn't used, but I think a large part of the community is using pfSense. And then on top of that, then you got great guides from Tom Lawrence. I mean, you have a library of videos if you go with pfSense, because Tom Lawrence has a video on everything for it. So same with TrueNAS. So you're in good company if you go that route. And not to say you aren't with OPNsense. You could totally go that route, and But I think I've noticed that OPNsense is something that people graduate to too. It's so if you've never done either, yeah, try them both and pick the one you think is best. But I think you're in good company either way. Bill Nash, OPNsense, they both scratch the itches. Use one that's appropriate for your needs and budget. Yeah, for sure. I totally agree. Yeah, it's I've used them both. But I've used pfSense longer than I've used OPNsense. I'm gonna say OPNsense because that's what I've always said. But sometimes I get it sounds like a different product. So, but yeah, I would say use them both. Like like you said, you said you have LXCs, so assuming you have Proxmox. If you have Proxmox, yeah, try each one. The cool thing about virtualization is you could spin up these two, and have virtual NICs in your bridge, and shut one down. Switch the NICs virtually, and boom, that becomes your router, your firewall, your gateway for your whole home, or however you want to do it. And you don't like it or whatever, shut one down, spin the other one up, or turn it back on, do a little bit of virtual hardware shuffle, and boom, you got that one in place too. So yeah, that's what I'd say. Try them both. Beat it. I'm rebuilding now to have PBS on dedicated hardware with ZFS. Yeah, I again talking about things people graduate to. I think that's what people end up doing. Like that's that is the like the preferred way. That's the production way to do it, is have dedicated hardware for it. I just have a hard time dedicating hardware for it. For me, it's like I have a hard time just having another machine on 24/7, and that's me. And so I'm like, I have this great hypervisor. Like I might as well put it to use because it's already on. And so, but yeah, if you're getting really serious about PBS, doing it in production, or it's taking a long time to run stuff, dedicated hardware is always the way to go for a backup system too, right? Like if my hypervisor goes down right now, I'm kind of in trouble. I can't restore anything. And so I'm kind of like it's the chicken or the egg scenario. I removed kind of that chicken and the egg scenario by running it on a different hypervisor. So I kind of separated those two, but that doesn't mean so now if one hypervisor goes down, hey, I can restore from PBS that's running on another hypervisor. And if that one goes down, well, yeah, I can't restore anything, but I still have my virtual machines running, right? And so, I've kind of separated them that way. But it's absolutely the right thing to do in a production environment, for sure. But like that, you became a lot of expert on the subject you document. Yeah. So this is going back to the document stuff at the same time, for sure. Doing stuff and documenting at the same time. Yeah. It's pretty awesome. And yeah, you become an expert really quick, because when you're documenting something, it's like you have to get it right, so you can reproduce it, or someone else can reproduce it. And so you kind of do have to become the expert, for sure. Okay, guys, I'm gonna, time has flown by, but I do have to kind of, I'm gonna look for some, but I do kind of have to make sure that I'm still on time and true to my, roughly an hour. Let's see. I splurged. Bill Nash. Oh, here we go. Round it off, because we were talking about this in the beginning. Bill Nash says, Memens. I splurged on an M3 MacBook Pro this year. It's about to replace my 16-core, 128 gig PC entirely. Yeah, it's MacBooks can do that for sure. A fraction of the energy, and you can bring it with you. Yeah, it's pretty awesome. And like their whole Apple Silicon thing is like incredibly efficient. And the biggest gains you're going to get is just moving to it for the first time. You're like, whoa. After that, it's incremental. And there's incremental gains going from, like you were talking about earlier, M1 to possibly M4, M3. That's a pretty big jump. M1 to M2, it was pretty big. But, it's just, incrementally. But the first jump from x86 to Apple Silicon is like, seriously? I can do all this and no fans are on? And it's dead quiet. Like I can hear myself breathing. It's that quiet. Yeah, it's pretty wild. So, but anyways, hey y'all, thank you so much for 4 nights working on. There's one issue which caused. All right, we'll go last one. This maybe I missed the beginning, but this is what I'm gonna end with. So yes, I spent 4 nights working on it. There was an issue which caused the internet not working at all due to multiple subnets. So somehow I have to figure out what's working, what's fine, there's plugins and all. I also monitor my data usage per IP, so I noticed I jumped in the middle of this one. Oh, here we go. I'll go to the first one because this one seems like it's pretty like network focused and pfSense focused. We got a lot of experts in here too, so let's shine a little light on this one. Following you, Tim, I myself set up pfSense in my home, my own DNS. And a NAS as well. Yeah, awesome. It's not proper, but it works. Hey, dude, that is pretty much that is words I live by. But no, dude, anything is proper as long as you use it. I will say though, like a lot of the stuff I have is because I'm on YouTube. Like if I will say that like doing stuff and showing stuff on YouTube has made like my stuff or my need to make my stuff look better than it really should, And so I never want anyone to feel like, oh man, like, dude, look at that. I can't even compete. Because it's not really a competition. Well, sometimes between Raid Owl, he likes to challenge me to stuff. But anyways, I hope no one ever looks at my HomeLab and they're like, I can never get into this. It looks too complicated. Because at the end of the day, like, the way I look at it, HomeLab is just like a place, an environment where you can learn and test and experiment on some kind of technology, without doing it on, your production environment at work or, some other place. And so, for me, it's just like a playground. And so if you can build up that playground, I don't care what it looks like or what's running on it. So, but yeah, it's proper. Don't worry, it's proper. So, and then you were saying, next was, yes, I spent 4 nights working on it. Okay, there was one issue which caused the internet not to working at all due to multiple subnets. There we go. Somehow I figured it out and it's working fine, plugins and all. I also monitor data usage per IP, so that's nice for me to see. Yeah, that is awesome. That is awesome once you get down to that level. And there is a lot I've learned seeing Tim's video. Dude, thank you so much. Noor Mohammed, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Hey, your stuff's proper. Don't worry. And as long as it's somewhere that you can learn and, it's sometimes it's not what it looks like. It's what it does. And what is it doing for you? It's providing internet for your family, and privacy and security. So it's pretty awesome. Just think about it like capabilities. Like what capabilities am I adding? Not necessarily the hardware behind it. I mean, the hardware stuff is definitely fun. It needs to be there in order for it to run this stuff. But, in your case, you want to run pfSense because you want some capabilities from it and you're able to do that. So anyways, hey, thank you all so much. What an awesome stream and be able to get to talk about so many different things. Thank you for tuning in and for chatting. Thank you so much. There were subs, there was resubs, there was follows. I hope I didn't miss any. Now, Hugh Wagner, thanks for the follow. Appreciate it. But thank you guys all so much. I really appreciate it. Man, it's been a pretty fun. So if you want to continue this, if you want to talk about other things in HomeLab or things in general, or I skipped your question accidentally, you can ping me in Discord. We have a Discord full of, I don't know, I think we're over 10,000 now. I keep saying 10,000, but I think I'm just going to say 10,000. We're at 10,000 people, full of people who are definitely interested in tech and talk about stuff, but it's pretty laid back, and it's a pretty fun place to be, I think. So if you want to join and talk about things in tech or non-tech, you should join. You can do !Discord, or you can Google Techno Tim Discord and you'll find it there. Dude, thank you so much. Oh, man, it's hard for me to read because it didn't show up yet. Dude, the Lumac. Dude, thank you so much. Gifting. Thank you. 10 of 10. Yeah, so gifting 2 tier 1 sub. So, Sherman and Hoboner. Sherman and Hoboner, enjoy your gifted sub from the Lumac. Dude, thank you so much. Appreciate it. Yeah, Discord full of nerds. I totally agree. So, man, thank you all again. Thank you so much. If you need me, I'll be in Discord. I'll be everywhere else in social media. You can ping me anywhere. It doesn't bother me at all. I'll look when I can, and go from there. I will be back here next Saturday, same time. It's 3 Central, but there's been a little bit of mess up with daylight savings time, so it's 3 Central, daylight savings time, basically 3 Chicago time. So if you're ever curious, like when is it, just look at Chicago time. That's when I am. And then I should have something out for you very soon about my crazy weekend and a lot of the stuff that I learned. So anyways, thank you so much, dude. Lumac, dude, I appreciate it, man. The Lumac, thank you. Got to support the honest creators. Thanks. I try to be as honest as I can. It's definitely one of my core values. So anyways, have a great Saturday. Have a great week. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. If you need me, I'll be in Discord. Otherwise, take care, folks. Be good to each other. Take care.